And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation. And here he is, Michael Savage.
Blue Monday, how I hate Blue Monday. Got to work like a slave all day. Here come Tuesday.
It is The Savage Nation. Although it's Wednesday, it feels like Monday to me. So here we go. Where is everybody? Thank you, Fats. Appreciate it very much. We'll see you a little later. The fact of the matter is, I do a show when I want to do a show, which is now. Everyone's on vacation. All of the big wheels in talk radio, including little wheels, are gone. In fact, no wheels everyone's gone. Either fill-ins or best ofs. I've always found the most productive parts of my life were like in August when I was a scholar. I somehow did scholarly papers in August when the libraries were empty. And then I find that I enjoy doing my shows more when the pace is slower, which is usually during the vacations. So I decided to come and look. If the president can take a break from his surfing and golfing to come back to prevent the cliff or push us over the cliff or climb the cliff or go, oh, like this myth of Sisyphus. They call it the fiscal cliff. To me, it's the myth of Sisyphus because once you get to the top, you're only going to roll the stone down the other side. And here we go again. So I'm not going to talk about the cliff or taxes. I intended to talk about something very serious today, but I've decided not to talk about anything serious to start with. I may do it later. Like I was going to ask why the Fort Hood massacre is buried by the vermin in the media. I'm going to ask why Muslims are given a pass on such things as a massacre, such as the Fort Hood massacre. What is the Army hiding? And I will get to that. It's all about giving a pass to Nidal because he's a Muslim. You know, if he looked like Timothy McVeigh, blonde hair, blue eyes, he would have been roasted already. Roasted, basted, fried, boiled. But I'm not going to talk about the Fort Hood massacre right now. I'm not going to complain about Michelle Obama remaining in Hawaii costing taxpayers over $100,000 because she's entitled to it. As the Queen of America, she's entitled to it. And we welcome the president back. We respect him very much for returning from his vacation. He looks very nice in a green polo shirt, in a bulletproof Air Force One car or whatever goes with it. That Drudge got sideways. I don't know how Drudge gets these pictures. I just don't understand it. So I went on the Drudge Report before the show, and I see I'm interested in longevity. I don't know if you are. I am. And it says 115 years of age, Japanese man to become oldest living man ever on record. Caught my attention. Didn't read it. I can pretty much know why he lived to 115. It's a combination of genetics, diet, lifestyle, okay? And a little bit of the unknown, because I've studied this all my life. And underneath it, something caught my eye. Study said expressing anger can add 2 years to your lifespan. So naturally, I went to the article because I'm an angry man. And all my life, people who've tried to control me have said, you shouldn't be so angry. You'll get sick and die young. Well, as Mark Twain said, when they asked him how does he get his exercise, he said, I get my exercise walking to the funerals of my more athletic friends. I'm not at the age yet where I can say that I get most of my anger out by laughing at the funerals of my more peaceful friends, nor do I think I actually would say that. But it's an interesting study saying that anger can add 2 years to your lifespan because if you get it out of your system, right? People have told me in radio, for example, when I started in talk radio, that it would help me live longer. Because I always thought I would die young. And thus far, it's not happened yet. No, and it's a crazy statement when you think about it. Father, God rest his soul, young. Grandfather, young. So then you were groping. What about great-grandfather in the old country in Europe? Oh, him, he lived to 43. It was one of those. So naturally, it drove me into diet. You know, I wrote books on health and nutrition, herbal medicine, travel all over the world. And I've learned certain things which I think apply. I have terrible genetics with regard to longevity. But I found out happily today that anger is very good for my longevity. So I intend to continue to be angry, not only on the air but off the air as well. And I was going to ask you a question if you're listening to the show. Are you always angry? And, you know, is it really Obama's socialist policies that gets you angry? Or if you're a lib, is it really the Tea Party and their love for America that really gets you angry? Is it those of us on talk radio who get you angry? Is it the lack of truth in the news that gets you angry? Is it the liars in government who get you angry? Is it America's weakness before the world that gets you angry? Or it could be medical. Medical. There are 4 or 5, 8 reasons if you display anger all the time. There are hosts on radio who fake anger constantly. It's called indignation, righteous indignation, and fake righteous indignation. And it's a tool that's used by the novice in talk radio. What's the point of being angry all the time? I mean, there is a reason for it. Now, if you want to call me because you have no idea why, what I'm talking about, the phone number is 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282, although I will admit to you that I could do the show without any callers. I would like to see if anyone's listening. Right now, I have a black hole on the board. There's 0. I have 10 lines, which is nice. There's like an artist's canvas. And the canvas is now blank. So it's like a writer's page, they used to say. They get a fear of the white page. I never had that fear. I always knew that I could fill it when I had to. And I know that the same is true with the callers. I mean, if I wanted callers, I know what to say to just get callers. So here are the few conditions that can intensify your anger. Overactive thyroid. All right, nothing there. That's not even interesting. High cholesterol. But what was interesting, here's something interesting for those of you who are frightened of dropping dead of a heart attack and take statins, especially if you're from Staten Island, because Staten Island itself can raise your blood pressure, especially after Sandy. But the drug statins, or if you want to say statins, if you're from Norwich, you can say that. Statins, which are widely prescribed for high cholesterol, can sometimes lead to you losing your temper. Why? In a study conducted by people at the University of California, researchers found that statins are linked to lower levels of serotonin, which can lead to an increase in depression and anger. I will tell you something. I have terrible blood chemistry, the worst in America. The worst, the most upside down, LDL, HDL, VLDL. I went through this for 20 years now. When I first saw it, I thought I'd be dead within a day. But I then tried to take statins. I got sick from them within a day or two. My muscles hurt me. My muscles hurt. They put me on a milder one. I stopped taking them. I just can't handle it. But the fact of the matter is, I didn't know this, that it also leads to depression and anger. Diabetes can lead to anger. That we know. And, low blood sugar. Are you kidding me? The Twinkie defense? Imbalance in sugar levels? You know that. You know that. The serotonin levels can lead to aggression, anger, confusion, panic attacks. So it's good to keep your sugar. Depression can lead to anger. Alzheimer's disease can affect brain function, emotional behavior. Autism is a developmental disorder, affects the brain's normal growth of social and communication skills. So if a person with autism is swamped with multiple tasks or sensory stimulation, it can enhance the anger of one suffering from autism. But that's also true for people who don't have autism. Some people cannot multitask, okay? Now, sleeping pills. You may think sleeping pills are good for your anger. You're wrong. It's a funny thing. The few times in my life, and I would say it's a dozen times in my life I've used Valium, and maybe a dozen. I have used it about a dozen times. It's an amazing relaxant. I know the whole mechanism of how benzodiazepines work ever since they came out. They're wonderful for some conditions. However, they're very addictive. But I found out that the next day I'm very irritable. And then I did some more digging in the scientific literature, and it turns out that the next day that you use sleeping pills which contain benzodiazepine-like compounds, you're going to find that the next day you have a reaction that's more of irritability. And last but not least, I know you don't want to hear it. You're going to say there's no difference between men and women, but there is. PMS. Due to the imbalance of hormones such as estrogen and progesterone, women become more irritable and increase in anger during this time. According to the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology, I know you don't want to hear this, your mood can change during the last 2 weeks of your menstrual cycle, as well as 2 weeks before your period. I'm sorry. I didn't create it, okay? See if you can eliminate this somehow. Call up God and tell God he's a sexist. So as I was reading this article on anger, and right now I have a smashing headache, the worst. I've tried everything today. I know it did it. You see, it's Christmas weekend, and I had a wonderful meal Christmas the other night at my daughter's house. There were 12 people with three infants. Gorgeous. Unbelievable. There was a 91-year-old relative, came in. Perfect condition, no health issues, none. So I asked her during the day, what do you owe your longevity? She said, clean living. You hear this? Go put that in your pipe and smoke it here in San Francisco. It's like my mother lived to 88. When I asked her on the air, what do you ascribe your longevity to? She says, in my case, she says, no sex. Okay. Now, I know the liberals say let it all hang out. If it feels good, do it. Why not do it in the road? Yeah, did a lot of good for them. Get back to me when they're 40. Nevertheless, the meal was fabulous. Oh, what a meal. That's not what got me sick. I have another relative who I love very dearly who's obsessed with Chinese food. Whatever happens, wherever you go, no matter what, the car always winds up going to this restaurant in San Francisco that is Hakka Chinese food. Hakka Chinese food. Salt-baked chicken. Every dish is more delicious than the other. I've been going there for 40 years, but I only go there once a month or so. I ate it 3 times since Saturday night. I have a high blood pressure attack from the Hakka food you can die from. Nothing will control it. Bananas, tangerines, high potassium, nothing. Nothing will touch this headache. I'm through with that garbage. No more garbage Chinese food for me. In fact, I'm going on an oatmeal diet. So nevertheless, I'm dealing with this headache, and I'm reading the article on 8 medical reasons why you may always be angry. And suddenly, lo and behold, on the right side of the article, it has other articles related to it, most popular. Expressing anger can add 2 years to a person's lifespan. I already covered that. So that's good. Then, 8 medical reasons why you may always be angry. We just covered that. Then, bingo, I'll look at this one. Penis size study in 113 countries shows who comes out on top. Naturally, being a male, I looked it up. And I'm going to share that with you when I return right here on the Savage Nation. Phone number is 855-400-SAVAGE. I'll be right back.
Savage.